I'm seeing a deluge of articles written about Afghanistan lately. I'm not sure whether it's algorithmically curated or organic, but it's made me think about my own personal experience and personal narrative. Young me would have did say, that we should be in every country imposing our moral order on the world. But I've changed my mind. I haven't become a pacifist in my old age. War is simply a necessary part of the human condition. A war of defence could be considered to be among the highest ethical good. But Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Libya, and possibly other places were wars of total convenience. We didn't have to go there. Or maybe we did, but not to protect democracy from terrorism. There is a world order that began with the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944, in which power was seceded from Europe to the USA. A mistake people make is that they think that because there are no national empires anymore, imperialism has gone away. It hasn't. The West has enjoyed 30 years of unchallenged supremacy on the world stage, and that has changed the nature of it. Instead of putting ourselves in other countries, we bring people into ours. 20 years ago, they used to call this phenomenon a brain drain. As Professor of Psychology Sam Vaknin might say, we have gone from a shared psychosis to a narcissistic view of the world. But whatever the reason why we were there, the war on terror has been a black stain on my generation. And you can see it represented in all the dark themes across media, in films and fiction. Everything is dark, gritty, bleak, disparate, and melancholy. The Guardian article, Afghanistan Stunned by Scale and Speed of Security Forces Collapse, professes that Afghanistan's security forces are floundering. This map is a couple of weeks old, but you can see how bad things are. Troops are surrendering themselves, their weapons, and their territory. Other troops are falling back to consolidate in strongholds. Kabul is thought by some to be months away from Taliban reoccupation. Nathan Long, Richard Green, Stephen Kingscott, Martin Lamb. They were my friends, and I find myself wondering, what did they die for? The places where I was stationed in 2004 and 2009 are gone. Every footstep and every building has been erased. When my memories are gone, there will be nothing to remember that we were all there. And what did it accomplish? In a high-minded idealist level, we tried to give the Afghani people freedom and democracy, noble concepts, but completely foreign to them. Just like we see in Africa with what's left of the states we created in the 19th century, they don't want it enough. They aren't willing to die for it, and so they lose it. But this isn't news. We serving soldiers knew at the time that we were always going to lose for one simple reason. The Taliban lived there, and we didn't. The exact same reason that the Americans were defeated in Vietnam. Additionally, Afghans, and for that matter most of the world, don't have a Westphalian sense of nationhood like we do. They have tribalism, with friendships and rivalries that go back hundreds of years. We take it for granted that everyone else in their country has the same ethical structure and values as we do, but they don't have such a unifying concept to rally around. History may look back on us as complacent in that regard. And now China is moving in with its Belt and Road Initiative, designed to cement China as ruler of trade in Asia. We, the West, spent trillions of dollars and thousands of lives securing infrastructure to simply leave for another power to enter. It's such a bad strategy you almost couldn't make it up. In 2019, I went to a talk at the local book festival entitled The End of Global Trade. The speaker said that we let China into the IMF with the assumption that they would democratize as they got wealthier. Another strategic error by our leaders. China is also pursuing gold, uranium, lithium, and copper, which might tell you something about our real motivations. The Taliban have even gone as far as to call China a friend, whom they welcome for reconstruction. There is an outstanding issue of Afghan interpreters who helped us fulfill our mission. Though we paid them in coin so that they would help us, many of them chose to hide their faces while we were on patrol so that the Taliban couldn't identify them. Many of them will become persecuted by their own people, and we didn't deem them worthy to give them sanctuary in the form of citizenship. With 500 illegal people coming into Britain per day, one might hope that some of them are interpreters. There's a lesson that we should learn here. Government does not love. It does not feel loyalty. It does not care about individuals. It is simply an entity devoted to the application of power. An article titled Boris Johnson announces the end of UK military mission in Afghanistan, glibly ends with a quote from the head of the armed forces, Sir Nick Carter. British soldiers who served could hold their heads very high. The British Army now has a new combat ethos learned from fighting in Helmand. They were never defeated on the battlefield. As if that were the sole virtue gained from 20 years of invasion, occupation, and nation building. And it begs the question, why emphasise combat ethos? What's its future utility? It begs another question. Is it intentional to give each generation of soldiers a combat ethos through aggressive conflict? I've held off making this video for a couple of days, and it almost seems like synchronicity, because today the British Defence Minister says that we will work with the Taliban if they take power. It was all a tragic waste of life and human potential, for nothing. It didn't have to be this way. 1 million people marched in London against Tony Blair's war in Iraq. If Britons then knew the outcome, how many more would have joined them? And for that matter, if Britons in 1939 could see today, how many of them would have fought Germany? A subject for another time.